Oh, come on! How's it going, everybody? You're watching the Broken Controller Club. My name is Ed and I'm your host. I'm also the grand poobah of this club. Being a club member is easy, you just subscribe and voila! You didn't even have to give me any personal information. How's that for private? Now, unlike prostitutes, when you buy a video game, you don't always get what you pay for. There's a good chance that when you spend $50 on a romantic evening with Tripod Trixie, you'll not only find out why she's called Tripod, but also get a lovely parting gift that'll require a few shots of penicillin and a bottle of Irish whiskey that'll kill the parts of your brain that can remember your evening. Spending $1 or $2 on a budget indie video game, on the other hand, may get you a piece of garbage, or you'll find something that you really enjoy your time with. The same can also be said about the $60 or $70 games. With all that said, I got Gladiator, Blades of Fury for 80 cents. Can you even buy anything for 80 cents anymore? Maybe some of those cheapy candies at Cracker Barrel, I guess, but yeah, 80 cents this game was on sale for at the PlayStation Store's indie sale, and really, as long as the game even starts, I think I kinda got my money's worth. So Gladiator, or if you're Elizabeth Taylor, Gladiator, thankfully has nothing to do with the movie. It's more of a 3D arena-style fighter. The single-player mode is the tournament mode where you get to pick a really ugly character from 4 different classes and fight your way to become the ugly champion. The classes are barbarians, knights, assassins, and dwarves. If you're the one person out there who cares about this, you can look over each of the character's stats, but beware, because this means that you're the most boring person to ever live. Also on that same stats screen, there's a measurement for experience points that was partially filled for each character, and I don't know what that goes to. Is that their experience in being a barbarian? Maybe a new assassin recruit that has less? That's a secret that'll have to die with the developers, because it's more rewarding to pull weeds in my backyard than find out. I honestly can't really tell you the difference between any of these classes anyways, outside of maybe how their special moves look. For this review, I chose the knight Sir Lyonel because I like knights, and this one has a look on his face like he's trying to pass a kidney stone or he's watching a horrible accident that's about to happen. Also, his avatar pic has his mouth closed, so I feel like something interesting happened in between the picture being taken and the game being finished that made him look this way. Either way, he is the standard that I will judge all future knights in video games by from now on. Also, just as an aside, I'd like to give some honorable mentions to characters like Shadowstalker, whose hand is clipping right through her axe, Ironhide, who looks like the Black Knight from Monty Python, and finally, Crimson Flow, whom I believe only fights women once a month. Everybody's different though, so after you've picked your afterbirth of a character, it's basically just 10 matches, each being best 2 out of 3 like so many other fighting games, to make it to the top and be the champion. The game was running fine, but was just ugly up until this point, and now that we're actually going to play the game, this is where everything shits the bed with the most reckless of abandon. So you get dropped into the arena when you start a match, and you're at one end and your opponent is on the other. At first glance you're thinking, oh, it's one-on-one fighting, but no, it's not. There's a third combatant, and it is the drunken camera watching all the action. Before starting, the camera likes to pan the arena, badly, I might add, and then it's supposed to focus on your fighter. Well, Gladiator likes to surprise you by not even focusing on you half the time. Sometimes it'll go behind the shoulder of your opponent and actually make you feel like you're going to be actually playing as them, then snap over to your character at the start of the match as if it forgot what it was doing. The camera will get stuck on walls or not be able to keep up with what's going on, and looks a lot like it's centered on the back of your character instead of above the shoulders or head. So if the enemy is too far away, you'll have a hard time figuring out where they're at. Also, hitting the special attack button makes the camera want to correct itself, so pressing it repeatedly makes you feel kind of like you're starting to have a seizure. Your character also has a really hard time focusing on your enemy, and the computer will pretty much constantly circle you so that you can't land a hit on them. You can remedy this by locking onto them. This will help you land about a third of your attacks instead of none of them. I figured out early on that if you try to stick to a wall and the camera decides to not get stuck, that it'll prevent the computer from trying to constantly move around you and make it easier to land a hit on them. It's a simple strategy, yes, but I'm still proud of myself for figuring it out. As far as the arenas go, I mean, they serve their purpose, though a few of them are just reskins with the same layout. I did find that for arenas that have an edge to them, that a ring out is possible, but it took the computer like accidentally walking off the edge and then not being able to walk back toward me while being stuck in thin air. Then they eventually fell. When it comes to combat, you've got a basic attack, a special attack, and a kick to damage your opponent. You can also block, do a really slow cartwheel that, as far as I can see, serves no purpose, and you do what I can also only describe as a rockstar slide that also doesn't seem to do anything. As I said before, most of these attacks don't really land, and you'll spend more time accidentally hitting your opponent than anything else. There's no technique to fighting in this, and you just want to whittle your enemy's health down before they whittle yours down. Sometimes I'd land something that did a lot of damage, but hell if I know what it was. Also, there's a few characters that had the same move sets, which is always lazy to me. Winning a match gets you a close-up of your fighter with really bad lighting, then most of the time you can't even see their face. So in addition to the camera working against you, you'll find that this game has more slow motion than anything I've ever played in my life. You can do a special attack without your enemy near you, and it'll randomly go into slow-mo. Decide to jump towards your enemy as they're attacking? Time for some slow-mo! Or who knows, maybe it's not slow-mo and the game's engine just can't handle doing anything. That's not totally out of the question either. It's not a very difficult game, and playing on normal, I didn't notice any enemies getting harder as I climbed the ladder to success. When I got to the final fighter, who was just another playable character, I whooped his ass pretty handily and got what is probably the best ending in a fighter I've ever seen. Your fighter is standing on a lone slab of stone, and you have flower petals being tossed at you from thin air. That's it. That's the whole game. For you people that like trophy hunting, I unlocked most of them in my first playthrough, and then of the two left, one was for playing 100 rounds of the game, and I could only do that on a dare where there was a bottle of really expensive booze or several complimentary visits to a therapist after I did it. You'd think that was it for the whole game, right? But wait, there's more! Sort of. When you're done playing single player and you have coerced someone into joining you, you can play multiplayer and quick match. I personally couldn't get anybody to actually try multiplayer with me, so when I moved over to the quick match, I saw the exact same screen as multiplayer. So I don't really know what the difference is, and I have a feeling you don't really care either, so I'm moving right along. So in summary, yeah, I got my 80 cents worth out of it, and that's about it. The game's laughably ugly, which I find actually kind of endearing, but the sloppy camera, the way too frequent slow-mo, and the combat that needs an overhaul, it makes it difficult to even recommend this as a joke game. And that is all the news that's fit to print. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I'll have another one of these coming up soon. Congratulations! You're one of an elite few to make it to the end of the video. Reward yourself by hitting the round subscribe button in the middle, and then check out the other goodies I've got in the links next to it.